I know Rock. We are connected via a family connection, but
okay. So he made a little bit of news
yeah.
because he did an interview in which he said this about people being too sensitive. He said, I don't have to agree with what somebody thinks, who they vote for, what they vote for, what they think, but I will back their right to say or believe it. That's democracy. So many good people fought for freedom and equality, but this generation are looking for a reason to be offended. If you are not agreeing with them, then they are offended. And that is not what so many great men and women fought for. Good message?
Great message. I couldn't agree with him more on this, and I don't think that's just for snowflakes or millennials or Generation Z or Generation X or baby boomers if they're still kicking. I think in general, that is the victim thing. If you don't see my way, you're trying to hurt me. And it used to be like, for example, me and Snoop Dogg, I worked for him, I protected him, and we've had a relationship. We obviously are on different sides of the spectrums politically, but it never influences our friendship. It never influences our conversation. We're not going to stop talking about football and the Patriots doing well in the playoffs and Steelers being out then because we're political differences, because we just don't talk about or respect differences. And The Rock is talking about, it used to be that way. We used to be able to disagree on things and still have human relationships. This new fad of this super tribalism of you don't see it my way, then you're trying to hurt me, it's just bad for the country in general. And you can't blame it on one person, which they like to do. It's just the victimization is just the new cool designer outfit. To be the victim is so great, and I hate it.
Well, I can't help but agree with this gentleman 100% wholeheartedly. Generation Snowflake is causing a problem. It is this kind of political tribalism that is tearing apart Western democracies. And I think it's because people are getting too committed to an abstract ideal, a goal, a dream, a utopia, instead of being committed to the reality of living in a democracy and being a citizen, us being peers under the law, us being able to have relationships and lives outside of politics. And don't get me wrong, I'm probably just as guilty of this as anyone else. I'm not trying to say that, it's other people and not me or anything like that. But we can't deny that this is a major problem. And let's be fair, I've been talking about this for years, that this is a problem and it's just going to keep getting worse. And now we've got to the point where apparently The Rock has gone and done an interview with the Daily Star in order to talk about this. Yesterday, a newspaper called the Daily Star in Britain, which is really not a very well-respected newspaper, it's considered a bit of a tabloid rag, published exclusive. The Rock slams snowflakes as looking for reasons to be offended. The world's biggest movie star, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, has body-slammed Britain's growing snowflake culture. Well, if only. He laid the smackdown on PC softies in an exclusive chat with the Daily Star. Wow, this is big if true, isn't it? While the People's Champion applauds the fact that nowadays anyone can be who they want to be, the muscle-bound mountain man raged at the constant offence snowflakes take from everything. The legendary... Jeez, they're talking him up, aren't they? The legendary wrestler turned actor... I do like The Rock, though. Like, I'm a fan of his movies. I really like the Doom movie. I thought he was great in it. I know everyone hated the Doom movie, but I thought he was really great in it, and it's actually one of my favourites. But anyway, the legendary wrestler turned actor says it does a disservice to war heroes who fought for freedom of speech, etc., etc. And the reason that I use apparently and allegedly is because I have to use an archive of this article, because today they decided to remove that article for reasons that I wasn't really aware of when I went to look at this story. And it turns out The Rock says that they entirely fabricated their interview with him, which is honestly not beyond the realms of possibility for the Daily Star. So The Rock claimed that the Daily Star fabricated a front-page story in which the film star appears to criticise millennials as snowflakes. The story, which appeared on Friday's front page under the headline, blah, blah, and remained online at the time of publishing for The Guardian here, implied the film star was offended by various incidents in the UK, such as University of Manchester Student Union discouraging students from clapping in meetings, and claims that a bakery had renamed gingerbread men gingerbread people. Well, you don't need two A's in that sentence, The Guardian, and they did indeed rename gingerbread men gingerbread people. That didn't just happen in a bakery either, that also happened in the Scottish fucking Parliament. I'm not joking. So the question is, why is that happening? Why are snowflakes getting offended by the things that have existed around them for their whole lives? And why wouldn't The Rock call it out? But more importantly, why would the Daily Star just fabricate this whole cloth and use The Rock as the celebrity mouthpiece to do that with? The Star, which used the piece to assert that the UK is mourning the death of comedy due to humorless crowds demanding no-risk jokes, again, I don't know risky jokes, whatever. That is happening. I mean, that's demonstrably happening. I actually was invited the other day to an underground comedy club, I guess I would call it. We're a bunch of anti-PC comedians, sort of celebrities, and members of think tanks went and enjoyed a night of politically incorrect comedy, and I have to say, it was really good. And it was wild, actually. It was like, if I had to design a kind of perfect anti-SJW comedy set, this hit all the right notes. And this was really, really great. And I tell you what, right? A lot of the jokes that were made in this, well, they were really towing the line. And they were done by, a couple of them were Americans, the really risky stuff was done by Americans who obviously don't really understand the laws in this country. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem for them in the future. And obviously I'm going to name no names because I really don't want these people to get in trouble. But it was amazing, frankly, to see people actually like, you know what, I'm not going to be controlled in the way that they're trying to control me by saying you can't be offensive. And honestly, I'm really disappointed that The Rock came out and said, the interview never took place, never happened, never said any of those words, completely untrue, 100% fabricated. I was quite baffled when I woke up this morning. You know it's not a real interview with him if I'm insulting a group, a generation, or anyone, because that's not me. And to be fair, I've watched quite a lot of his interviews and things like that. He doesn't do that. So that honestly does lend a lot of credibility to him saying it's made up. I mean, the question is, do the Daily Star have a recording of him saying these things? And I'm going to assume that they don't because they deleted their article. Because if they did, they could have just released the recording, surely, and demonstrate that for some reason he's lying and isn't standing by the courage of his own convictions on this. But since I have no reason to think that he said that, it's a real shame. But I have to say, I mean, if he had said something like that, and if he wanted to say something like that, well, I would be in complete agreement. These people are effectively killing off certain sections of culture because they find them offensive, and I don't think that's acceptable. You know, I don't try to kill off certain segments of culture I find offensive, so why the hell should they have any right to do it either?